Hi, I'm Mona J with Medium.com and Mona J Entertainment, and I am here with Gunnar St. James. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So, for those of you that do not know about Gunnar St. James, he's going to tell you a little bit about who he is.
Well, I am from Oregon. I
Okay.
am a trans man. I work in nightlife. Been here in LA this time around about almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have a girlfriend who is
Okay,
also
good.
trans
Okay.
and a drag queen.
So, working nightlife, what
Yeah.
exactly do you do?
Like promote parties, things like that. Mostly that.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So, a trans man,
Yeah.
how long was the process in becoming the trans man? When did you first make the decision?
I started almost 7 years ago, so it's
Mhm.
almost my 7 year anniversary,
Hmm.
and I think that's right. Don't get me wrong if if the
Close to
memory
it, close
shows
to it.
something a
Right,
little bit different, but
right,
yeah, I
right.
think that's about how long. Later in life is when I started transitioning, and yeah, I had always felt different my whole life,
Hmm.
and finally decided I didn't care about what anyone else thought, and it
Right.
was time for me. And so I was
So
gonna do me.
I feel you. So when you first decided to make the
Hmm.
transformation, who were the people who were on your mind first that you were caring what they thought about the transformation?
Yeah. So the main reason why I started transitioning when I did was because my good friend at the time, was not necessarily transitioning. They would be what's considered non-binary
Hmm.
now, but at the time they really didn't have that word.
Hmm.
It was more just that they felt more masculine
Right.
and wanted to start taking hormones to present more masculine to the world and for themselves, just so they could feel more themselves. And
Right.
so they told me about where they were going to their doctor, and for the first time in my life, like, I had the name of a doctor, knew what
Hmm.
it was,
Right.
knew somebody who was doing it, and it just made it accessible. So it was like in my brain, and within, I think it was a month or two, I
You
was
made
on the
start making
phone,
this
made
decision.
the appointment, was in the parking lot,
Right.
injecting myself with testosterone.
So like did you was your first thought of what is my mom gonna think? What is my dad gonna think? What are my
Absolutely.
family members gonna think? Like who did you think about first when you like I,
My mom,
mhm,
people at work,
mhm,
my friends. I lived in Portland, Oregon at the time, and
mhm.
there's a lot of queer people, a lot of
Right.
trans people.
Mhm.
So less worried about that, more worried about coworkers,
Right.
just safety in general,
Mhm.
and what my mom was gonna think. Because
Right.
immediately your voice starts dropping.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I got a cold, like, and then you have to kind of come out
So
again.
were you you felt different, but were
Hmm.
you always masculine even
Yes.
as a girl?
As Yeah, from the time I was born, I was running around with my shirt off, just
Mhm.
like one of the boys. Didn't
Right.
understand why that wasn't okay,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just didn't have a word for it
Right.
until I was older. Until it, like I said, it was more accessible. Until I knew somebody who was going through the same process.
So when you told your mom, what were her thoughts?
I think she was a little bit shocked, but immediately, I love you. I'll support you.
Right.
Are you okay?
Right.
Are you safe?
Right.
Those kind of things. But never what I thought in my brain, like anything.
So
You
what
always
about your
think worst
right?
case
That's going right.
scenario.
So what about your dad?
I'm not close with my
Not
father,
at all.
so it wasn't really. I never had to tell him.
Him, right?
Later, my mom is friends with him, so I found out that she divulged to him, just
Right.
to kind of tell him what was going on, but he doesn't really even.
So that was never a factor. You
Mm-mm.
didn't never
He
care
doesn't
about.
ask. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have a relationship. They're friends, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So you comfortable in your skin now?
oh, more comfortable than I've ever been. Yeah. Like, this is who I was supposed to be.
Right.
You know.
So you hear a lot when people say, I was born like this or I changed along the way? Do you really feel that people are born being another gender?
I think some people are. I think some people change. I think
Mhm.
it's a spectrum of gender.
Mhm.
I think it's different for everybody.
Right.
For me, it was like definitely always. And then as I've progressed along the way, it just reaffirms like, oh, that's why I felt that way, or like, oh,
Oh,
that's why I felt different.
right,
You know,
right.
it's like because I was a lesbian when I was like identifying. I mean, I didn't really identify, but when
Mhm.
I was female. Um, so yeah, it was like, oh, this isn't quite right.
Right.
And
So
I
when
was
you,
that for a lot of years, you
yeah.
know.
So when you start seeing yourself change,
Yeah.
how did you feel in the inside when you first started seeing the masculinity
Oh.
coming out? Were you excited,
Oh,
or were
yeah.
you just, or were you shocked?
Oh no, I
Yeah.
couldn't wait for more. Because immediately, that's what I was excited about. I was excited about the physical changes,
Mhm.
but the first thing that happened was mental changes.
Right.
So I went from not like caring so much about what everybody thought to like legitimately not giving any shits about
Right,
what
wait,
anybody
right.
thought. And I worked in customer service at the time, and I remember used to being so worried when I
Right.
was like female or
Mhm.
whatever, and like what everybody thought. And like within 3 weeks, I mean, they say like it takes months, but within 3 weeks, I can remember having an argument with my coworker,
Right.
and I would have went home and I would have worried about that all
But
night
you was
long.
like, I do not
I
care.
literally, the second it was over, I was like, I do not care what that guy thinks, because I was confident in myself,
Right,
and
right.
I wasn't wrong. So
So
who cares what
last
he
question.
thinks? Yeah.
So, along the way you became comfortable with yourself. And then how did this television show come about where you were saying, I can talk about this on TV?
I mean, this came out when I was, way far along in my transition. So
Mhm.
I've been confident and comfortable. I've been on shows before.
Oh, okay,
and stuff,
so this is not like the first show.
not the first one, but and then my partner also does stuff, on camera, so it just kind of like comes naturally, I guess. And like more than anything, I just want to like show people that this is totally normal. Like you
Right.
probably know your brother or your sister or somebody
Right.
that's going through this,
Yeah,
or a
right.
friend, somebody you know is going through this, or
Yeah.
it feels like this, and maybe doesn't have the terminology or doesn't know why they
Right,
feel like
right.
this, and maybe they'll see this and
Exactly.
think like, oh, just how I did,
Right.
like that's me. I feel like
Yeah,
that.
I think what you're doing is helping
Yeah.
somebody else, and to me that is what it's all about, like being comfortable in your own skin. And it may be somebody that's just afraid to take that step, or not
Yeah.
confident or unsure. And when there is a television production that's out there where they can see it on TV and they see people who have transformed, and you are representing them, then you change the world. So I think
100%.
that is what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you
thank you, Gunner St. James.
Thank
It was
you so
nice
much.
talking to you.
So nice talking to
I
you.
am Mona J, the center of attention with Gunner St. James with Medium.com and Mona J Entertainment, and we are out.